As we always do on Sunday mornings, it is time to check in with Paul Finebaum, presented by Allstate. It is a tradition like any other. We sit here Sunday morning and we talk week 2 of the college football season. Paul, good morning. How we doing?
Matt, I don't remember a season getting off to a start like this where there's so much chaos after really only two weeks in one game.
Yeah, and I said it there at the opening, and we're going to dive into it now because I want to start with the chaos that ensued in South Bend, and I want to start with the chaos that ensued in Lincoln. And I say chaos in Lincoln, and I want to start there with Deion in Colorado because we're in year 2 of Matt Rule. We're in year 2 of Coach Prime in Colorado. I don't think anybody watching that game last night can tell you which program is on a healthier footing between Nebraska and Colorado, and I don't think the two are even close.
No, Matt, I hated Matt Rule as a professional coach, but I've always admired him as a college coach. That's who he is. And he's taken some shots, but he's built a really good program. Deion Sanders has not. Deion Sanders is all glitz. He's all Hollywood. He's all show. And if you take away all the bootlickers around him from RG3 on down, what does he have? He's got 2 or 3 or maybe 4 sensational players and a revolving door that showed up last night on the line of scrimmage, which is where college football is won or lost, and the score is completely deceiving. If you just flipped on Sports Center on Sunday morning, oh, yeah, it was okay. No, it wasn't. I mean, that was just a flat out ass kicking.
Paul, that was a miss on you. If you turned on College Football Final and its immediate re-airs all over the networks, you would see the highlight of Colorado, Nebraska. Sports Center, I know it's our day job, but we're going to pump College Football Final here on the Matt Barrie Show, presented by Allstate. And you're right. It was a beatdown, and it wasn't even close. And Paul, therein lies the concern for Colorado, its program, and its future. Travis Hunter, to me, best all-around player in college football. He's going to be a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. Shador, we just don't know because he didn't have an offensive line, which, by the way, Colorado told us they revamped the offensive line all offseason. You couldn't convince me of that last night. It was like Nebraska was the black shirts again. The problem with Colorado, Paul, if you've built this thing around 2 players who were gone in 6 months, where does this leave a program who doesn't really recruit? They just kind of go and find a way to get the portal and make this thing all work.
There is no path forward, and I felt like this year, in spite of all the questions that we've gotten, hey, are they a playoff team? Now it's down after 2 weeks to, are they a bowl team? And I'm not even sure they are. I mean, I tried to do the math early this morning, and I mean, it's possible, but it's probably not likely. And that's really what we're talking about. We're wasting good airtime. I don't mean you, but just on other shows I've done, and you will do all week.
Yeah.
Whether or not a program in Boulder, Colorado, can possibly in a tier 2 league get to a bowl game, which means absolutely nothing to a big name program in the age of the playoff, and it's foolish. But we're all married to Deion, and I'm sure that as soon as Deion realizes that the bright lights are moving away from him, which they are moving away from him, he'll leak a story or 2 to one of his podcast friends that he's going to be the next Cowboys coach.
Yeah, and look, you look at their schedule and you really want to dive in, and herein is the genius of Deion Sanders. As you said, we're talking about Colorado. The first thing is we're checking in with Paul Finebaum, presented by Allstate. We're talking about him first because it does move the needle. But I've said this before. Deion brings a lot of this on himself. In fact, he brings all of it on himself. And if you go into a situation against a Nebraska team you've beaten 3 times in a row, against a coach who's at the same, they're both at year 3, as I said before. If you're going to bring it on yourself and then you're going to go out there and get absolutely decimated, if I'm the administration of Colorado, I'm concerned about the product because, again, I look at who I've built this thing around. Those 2 players are gone. And I look at this schedule, I could point out 6 losses like that if I'm Colorado.
Yeah, I mean, we could argue all day long about whether they win 5 or 6. I would side with 5. I know you would. And but because we don't know. I mean,
Right.
there's not. I mean, they don't have the schedule they did last year. Thank goodness. Can you imagine if they were playing a a a Pac-12 schedule from 23?
Yeah. Yeah. Look, so for Colorado coming up next, they have at Colorado State. It was a game that went into overtime last year. You would think they could take care of that one.
Should.
And then they go Baylor, who lost but was tough yesterday. UCF, which, by the way, according to the All-State playoff predictor, has the best chance of the Big 12 to get into the playoff. We don't even have time to dive into the numbers there. But you've got UCF, Kansas State, Arizona. To me, those are 3 games that don't look good for Colorado. And as this thing continues to go down the stretch of this season and get into the middle part, the meat of the schedule, it's going to get bad before it's going to get better.
Yeah, and it's a program that's just built on energy and gasoline and hits. And where are they going to come from? I mean, Matt, there are so many things happening right now, as you know. We will leave out 5 or 6 incredible topics today. You may address them elsewhere, but yeah, I mean, on TV on Sunday morning, crime was still a subject.
Yep.
No, you talked. I mean, by the way, I apologize for not seeing your show late last night, but I'm one of the last remaining.
Are you a direct TV person?
I'm one of the last remaining direct customers in America, so I'm committed at least till 8 o'clock tomorrow night.
Okay, all right, good. Yeah, we'll see what happens with the great standoff in media history. But the standoff wasn't anything in Lincoln last night, as Nebraska just absolutely had their way with Colorado. It's going to be a storyline we continue to follow because there is a braggadocious, chest-thumping way of thinking in Boulder. And
Matt, I don't think Deion Sanders is going to be able to handle it either. He's not built
No.
being ignored. I mean, he's too. I mean, he's a narcissist, and he feeds on. I mean, in spite of all the I mean, I think he's done good things.
No question.
But he's still who he's always been. And as soon as he looks down and goes, "Hey, where's game day? Where's big noon kickoff?" He's going to have a very difficult time. He's going to struggle to get Stephen A. He's going to struggle to get Shannon. These guys have better things to do right now than to waste a day in Boulder, Colorado.
And that's exactly that. Look, in a nutshell, I've said this. You could go to the archives of the Matt Barrie Show on the ESPN College Football YouTube channel. We've sit here and said, look, Deion brings celebrity. He brings attention. He's a world-class marketer. He's on commercials. He does all of that. It may be as good as any coach in America. But the one thing that I've said about Deion that I took issue with him is when he said that I'm treated differently than everyone else. Well, kind of, because you're a celebrity. But where he has to understand, every other coach in America, every single one, and you can't find me one that isn't, is judged by wins and losses. And if you want to be considered one of the top flight coaches in college football, guess what? You're going to hear the noise when you're getting beat the way you were last night in year 2. You're going to hear the noise when you're not developing talent. You're going to hear the noise when you're not recruiting well. Mike Norvell just went 13-0 and missed the college football playoff. You know what the story is in Tallahassee right now as they start 0-2? That Mike Norvell hasn't done a good job with high school recruiting. All he's doing is picking off portal players, and that's not how you build a program. That's the guy who went 13-0. So if Mike Norvell is getting it, what do you think Deion's going to get when it doesn't appear there's a foundation with this program?
And he's had 2 I don't want to say standalone because the first game was standalone on Thursday night, but last night there wasn't a lot on, Matt. I mean, you know it because you had all the TVs on.
Yeah.
I mean, there were a bunch of blood. I mean, Tennessee was interesting until you realized it wasn't going to be. So, I mean, they're not going to get many more windows where they will dominate. And I'm sure all the acolytes of Deion, like they did a week ago, as soon as the numbers come out, they'll tweet at me and you. Oh yeah, irrelevant. Well,
right.
Try that when you beat North Dakota State. This time you were playing in your own league, in your own weight class, and you got thrown out of the ring on your head.
Yeah, which, by the way, where does traffic tend to cluster up most when there's a lot of traffic? It's when there's a car wreck and people want to slow down and watch it. The numbers and the numbers, because there's a great TV draw. That's not the issue. The issue now is you really have to look at Colorado from the base of its roots and what kind of program are they building in Boulder. That was our check-in.
And one more thing on that,
Yeah.
I don't think Deion Sanders will be there next year, Matt. This season, when they fail to go to a bowl game, he's going to look around and try to find an exit strategy. No more Travis, no more Shador. What's the motivation for him to beat himself up? So I think enjoy the Deion show. It will be playing somewhere next year.